Harihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Continuing with Laghu Bhagvatamrita. So we are on the page 6, the first paragraph, on the top. 14. The pastimes are of two types. Found it? Okay. Prakata and Aprakata. The Aprakat pastimes, composed of Balya, Pauganda and Kaishorya aspects, are eternal, with unlimited manifestations of Krishna and his associates. So Aprakat means non-manifest, and they are eternal. And they are composed by, this is Balya, Pauganda and Kaishorya, that means different ages of Krishna, and different types of relationships are predominating these different ages. When Krishna, so Balya is, what I understand, Balya is Kaumara, Pauganda is Pauganda, and Kaishorya is when Krishna is, the predominant element is the pastimes with the gopis. When Krishna with his associates reveals these pastimes in the material world, in specific order, in one manifestation, they are called Prakat pastimes. So here we are talking about the Bhauma Vrindavan Lila. When Krishna comes with his associates here in this material universe. The difference between Prakat and Aprakat is that Krishna leaves and returns to Vraja and his other abodes in the Prakat pastimes. The Prakat pastimes from birth to disappearance are seen sequentially in all the universes by the inhabitants of those universes. So in the spiritual world, Krishna doesn't take birth, he doesn't grow, he's eternally in his own age. But here, in the material world, he appears that he takes a birth and he grows. Therefore, the pastimes here are kind of unique. They have some elements they don't have even in Goloka, like this one. Of course, in the spiritual world, there are talks and narrations and different stories about this. So the devotees there, they are experiencing this, like it happens, because there is no difference between listening the pastimes and being in the pastimes for them. And here also is supposed to be like this, but here we are still working on it. So it's very nice to hear Krishna's pastimes, but it doesn't mean that we are entering them every time when we hear them directly. The Prakat pastimes from birth, okay, one Vrindavana, one Mathura and one Dvaraka are seen by the inhabitants of a universe in Bharata, contained within each of the millions of universes. So always there is Bharatavarsha in every universe, and there is always Vrindavana, Mathura and Dvaraka. As the sun's rays seen in various parts of the zodiac, as time progresses, so Krishna's pastimes, after being completed in one Bharata, in one universe, manifest in another Bharata, in another universe, without manifesting in others. So that's how it happens. There was the example of the sun. The sun is always there, but sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't see it. So the same with Krishna's pastimes. Pastimes like birth are eternal, being full of eternity, knowledge and bliss. So these are all the pastimes of Krishna. There are few exceptions. Pastimes like the disappearance using the iron pestle and the stealing of the queens by thieves are like a magician's illusions in order to hide the eternal nature of the other pastimes. No one worships those two pastimes. Okay, so those two pastimes are the disappearance of Krishna and Yadu dynasty and the stealing of the queens by rogues. Arjuna was assigned to protect them, but he couldn't protect them. And it's explained that those so-called thieves and rogues, they were expansions of Narayana actually. But in any case, these specific pastimes, they are like magician's illusions. In a sense, they are unreal because Krishna manifested them in order to hide, to protect the confidential nature of his spiritual form and his spiritual pastimes from the non-devotees. Just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye tamam prapadyante tam satara bhajamyaham. So he gives an excuse to the demons to not believe that he is the Supreme Lord, because they are looking for such an excuse. And he gives them, okay, I'm also ordinary person, I also disappear, and my dynasty also, they just have some quarrel and they kill each other, one another. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that Manushya Partha Sarvashka. Vartmana Vartante Manushya Partha Sarvashka. Everybody follows my path, Krishna says. So the path leads towards Krishna or it can lead to other direction, but it's one path defined by the Lord. So if you want to be devotee, that is the way. You can be devotee. If you want to be demon, there is also a way. There is no other way, just Krishna's way. And some people, they want to be inimical towards Krishna, and Krishna, because he respects their free will, gives them excuse. So these are these two pastimes. Okay? And nobody worships those pastimes amongst the devotees. Just like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the devotees, they don't have karma, technically, and he gives the analogy of silken thread. If you burn it, then it remains intact, apparently, but then if you touch it, then it will disperse. And Krishna makes the appearance that he makes the show that the devotees still have karma, so that he wants to protect, again, the same point, he wants to protect the confidential nature of bhakti. Otherwise, if everything is too obvious, the devotees, they start chanting Hare Krishna, then there is no any more karma for them. They don't suffer anymore, they don't get sick, they don't encounter any hardships in life, then it will become obvious and everybody will want to become devotee. And Krishna doesn't want this, apparently. He wants to protect this confidential nature of bhakti, and then also another thing Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, is that Krishna he doesn't want to discourage the followers of his other paths, yoga, jnana, karma. He doesn't want to openly dishearten them. Therefore, he keeps this apparent, illusory karma of the devotees. The devotees, they still encounter difficulties, but it's not technically karma. It is coming from the Lord. The Lord wants to purify them, to clear off some improper attitude, etc. Okay, in the Prakata pastimes, some followers may see the jeweled trees and ground of Vrindavana, and others may not see them by the desire of the Lord. So here we're talking about the Prakat pastimes. After the end of the Prakat pastimes, however, the devotee may see these things when he has great longing because of his intense worship. That means after Krishna has disappeared from Vrindavan, from this planet, we can still see his pastimes, but then this is the result of great longing because of intense worship. He will see things according to the Lord's desire and the devotee's impressions due to his particular sadhana. So, depending on the type of sadhana we perform and our internal desire, then we will see different aspects of Krishna's pastimes, if we are qualified and if Krishna decides to show us. Here, that means we have to worship Vraja Krishna. Because depending on who we worship, then this aspect of Goloka we will see. If we worship Narayana, then we will see Vaikuntha. If we worship Vraja Krishna, then we will go to him. And here, in Jaiva Dharma, there is a description of an example, illustration of this point that is made by Rupa Goswami. He says that some devotees, they can see the pastimes of Krishna while residing in the Dham. Some people cannot see. Like now we are residing in Sridham Mayapur. And some devotees, they can see Krishna's Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Panchtattva, dancing and having kirtan. But some devotees cannot see. So here is an example of Sannyasi Thakur. This is one of the characters of Jaiva Dharma. He was a impersonalist, Mayavadi, and while he was, I think, in Benares, and he studied all the scriptures, and he was almost liberated soul, or maybe he was liberated. So one day he saw a devotee on the street who was chanting Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, and then he was crying and he was in ecstasy and ecstatic love. And this Mayavadi sannyasi, he was so attracted, he never felt such attraction, although he was liberated practically. But then because of social customs and false prestige or whatever, he was reluctant to approach this devotee. He didn't approach him. And then he felt very sorry, but then he started, he was meditating on this, and he left Varanasi and he went to find these devotees. And he came here to Navadvip. And then he approached one very advanced, pure devotee of the Lord. He became his disciple, and he started chanting and following the devotional bhakti sadhana. And in few days he attained Baba. In just few days. And when this happened, this is what happened. Now we're going to read a little bit from Jaiva Dharma. 1 hour past midnight, Sannyasi Thakur was deep in meditation, chanting Harinam. So this is 1 o'clock at 1 a.m. All of a sudden, he walked out of his bhajan kutir into the silky night and slowly climbed to the top of the hill at the edge of the Godruma wood. So this is just right here, across Jalangir is the Godrum. He was there. He peered through the north. At the zenith, the full moon waved a magic wand, and the surrounding landscape and nearby Navadvip glowed beautifully in silver glory. Mayapur, nestling cozily in the distance, caught his attention. So he saw Mayapur. All at once, Sannyasi Thakur exhaled and exclaimed in wonder, "Behold, I now see revealed the wondrous and blissful Dham." So he saw the holy Dham as it is. Not like we see it, we see just the film that covers the holy Dham. Large temples and archways, all constructed with precious gems, glittered magnificently, setting aglow the shores and peacefully flowing waters of the Janari Ganga. From many quarters, the congregational chanting of Harinama swells resoundingly, heaving upwards and engulfing the satin sky. Like Sri Narada, thousands of devotees are playing upon Venus and swirling about in stately dance. On one side, the chief of the devas, demigods, Sri Mahadeva, white as a lily, plays upon his Damarudram, dancing wildly and singing, "Oh my dear Vishwambara, be merciful to me," and then falls to the ground in ecstasy. In one corner, Lord Brahma, addressing an august assembly of Vedic sages, explains the verse from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Mahan Prabhur Vai Purusha Sattvasi Aisha Pravartaka. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Controller, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the origin of all inspiration and intelligence within man. Immortality and unalloyed peace is attained by His mercy alone. He is of a golden hue and immeasurably effulgent. He is infinite, unexhaustible, and the embodiment of the divine love. In another area, jubilant and dancing devas, headed by Indra, the king of heaven, exult in ecstatic, helter-skelter activities. They sing in loud chorus, Jaya Prabhu Gaurachandra, Jaya Nityananda. Sitting in the trees, the birds coo jubilantly, Gaur Nitai, bumblebees fly erratically throughout the floor, etc. So this is he sees Brahma, Shiva, he sees the demigods, he sees the real Dham. So this is what Rupa Goswami means. Okay, then, among all forms, that of Krishna, the son of Nanda, is supreme. Among all abodes, Gokula is supreme. Krishna has 4 types of sweetness in Vraja. The prema of the devotees there, the pastimes, the flute, and his form. So this was the first part 1 of the summary of Laghu Bhagvatamrita by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and now part 2, the sweetness of Krishna's devotees, because part first is the sweetness of Krishna, and then part 2 is the sweetness of Krishna's devotees. So now part 2, chapter 1, 15. After worshipping the Lord, the Vaishnavas should also worship Markandeya, Ambarisha, Uparichara Vasu, Vyasa, Vibhishana, Pundarika, Bali, Shiva, Prahlada, Vidura, Dhruva, Dalbhya, Parashara, Bhishma, Narada, and other devotees. If they do not do so, they commit unavoidable offense. Padma Purana. Among those devotees, Prahlada is the best. Greater than him are the Pandavas. Greater than the Pandavas are the Yadavas. Greater than them is Uddhava. Greater than Uddhava are the Gopis of Vraj. Greater than them, the greatest amongst them, is Srimati Radha. Bhagavatamrita Kanika, like gold set with jewels, has been written for dedicated devotees who are not proficient in grammar, so that's us. We also have an access. Okay, so this is the introductory part of our course, and now we start with the book itself. Now we start reading Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Part 1, the sweetness of Krishna, chapter 1, defining the forms of the Lord. Verse breakdown. Mangala Charana, 1 to 6, establishing the Pramana, 7 to 9, categorizing the various forms of the Lord, 10 to 24, Swayam Rupa, essential form, 12, 13, Tadakatma Rupa, forms which are non-different, 14 to 17, Vilasa, pastime expansions, 14 to 16, Swamsha, personal expansions, 17, Avesha Rupa, empowered forms, 18, 19, Prakasha, identical expansions, 20 to 23. Chapter summary. Srila Rupa Goswami begins this chapter by invoking auspiciousness and defining the book's topic. After some introductory remarks about his sources of evidence, he then proceeds to define the various Ishvara Tattvas. Swayam Rupa, Vilasa, Swamsha, Avesha, and Prakash. Text 1. Namastasmai Bhagavate Krishnai Kunta Medase Yodhate Sarva Bhutanam Abhava Yosh Shati Kala. I offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord Krishna, who bestows the highest knowledge and who manifests his all-attractive personal expansions, so that all living beings can achieve liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam 87:46. So this is the verse, and now we have the commentary of Baladevi Vibhushan. This is what we're reading. And sometimes there are remarks by the authors of the study guide. But so we are reading either when it's bold, then it's the Rupa Goswami, and then below is the Baladevi Vibhushan's proper direct translated by Bhagavatam. May we have constant attraction to He who is Chaitanya, Nityananda and Advaita, whose name delivers the universe, who is a supervisor of Dharma, and who is satisfied by even a show of devotion. So may we have constant attraction to He who is Chaitanya, Nityananda and Advaita, means that we can be saved only if we are attracted to the Lord. Therefore, the whole Bhakti Sadhana is supposed to move in this direction, when we will attain this ruchi, attraction. Because this will save us, this will ensure that we will be always with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, if we are just following some spiritual path out of fear or out of duty or out of shame, all these inferior motivations, then we won't be able to attain love of God. And sooner or later we will have to fall down to material activities because we won't get this attraction to the Lord. Therefore, we see in the history of medieval Europe, the Christian Church kept for a long time people in this state of fear and shame. And they were supposed to follow all the rules because they were afraid to go to hell and they were ashamed that they are sinful. But it didn't last. At one point, the Renaissance came and the Enlightenment came, and the people just had enough of this. And they just broke through. And then the Enlightenment philosophy came, the philosophers, then the writers, the painters, the artists, this is what we call the Renaissance. They put the human being in the center, not God anymore, right? And then we have these books like Decameron and other books where there are stories where people just break the principles all over the place, and somehow this is okay now because they had enough of this shame and fear. Why? Because they could not, Hare Krishna, they could not get this attraction to the Lord. They could not get the real spiritual taste, and they were left only with material taste, and this material taste can be kept under control only that much and that long. At one point, people just have enough of it. So therefore we are praying for this attraction to Krishna, and this is possible to attain only if we accept that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is a person. If we think that the Supreme Lord is impersonal, then this attraction is not possible to be attained, because how do you become attracted to impersonal entity? Only the Supreme Person with all attractive spiritual qualities, only He can attract us, and then we'll be saved. And amongst these persons, Krishna is the best. A little later we will read Rupa Goswami. He explains that in the case of Jaya and Vijaya, and there are three manifestations in the material world. Liberation was attained only by Shishupala at the end. Neither Hiranyakashipu, neither Ravana were able to attain liberation, although they were killed by the Lord. The first case, Nishingadev, then Ramachandra even. But Ravana did not attain liberation, because in these forms, Krishna didn't emanate, didn't reveal, didn't manifest this attractive power like he does when he appears as Krishna, Swam Bhagavan Krishna. And then this living entity, the Hiranyakashipu and Ravana, they were not attracted, they were not even aware this is the Lord. Hiranyakashipu thought that this is just some very past living entity. Ravana also. But they were not aware that this is the Lord. Only Shishupala was at the end. He was purified and then he understood and he was attracted to Krishna. Therefore he attained liberation. So this attraction is the key. And then here Rupa Goswami says, and he who is satisfied by even a show of devotion. So what is the meaning of this? Krishna who is satisfied even by a show of devotion. So then why striving to become pure devotees, right? If he is satisfied just by show of devotion, what's the meaning here? Show of devotion, show bottle devotee. We don't want to be show bottle devotee. We want to be real devotee. So, but Krishna is satisfied apparently even by show of devotion. What do you make out of it? What is the example of Krishna being satisfied by a show of devotion? Putana is a good example, yes. It was show of devotion. She was not real devotee. There is a verse in Bhagavatam, Aho bhaki yam stanakala kutam jigam sayapaya yat tapya sadvi leve gatim datri uchitam tatanyat kamvadayalum sharanam varjema. Alas, who can be more merciful than Krishna, who was bestowing his mercy even to this witch? She was unfaithful. She pretended that she is a devotee. She was not. And she attained the position similar to the position of Krishna's mom in the spiritual world. So therefore Krishna is satisfied by even a show of devotion. It doesn't mean that we should remain insincere and mishra, mixed devotees, but it just shows the great compassion and generosity of Krishna. We shouldn't use it in other way to justify our shortcomings. Okay, may Shri Rupa, whom the great souls known as Brihaspati. Okay, may Shri Rupa, whom the great souls know as Brihaspati because of his poetic expertise, whom they know as Vyasadeva because of his presentation of truth, and whom they know as Shukadeva because of his revealing the meaning of Madhurya Rasa, protect us, his servants. The author named Rupa Goswami, who knows the essence of the meaning of all scriptures, is composing this work called Laghu Bhagvatamrita, an abbreviated version of the Nectar of Bhagavatam. Presents this introductory verse, which offers respects to the Supreme Lord who will be made known in this work. This work acts as a fire to burn to ashes all obstacles and acts as a rain cloud of nectar to fulfill his desires. The verse offers respects to the Lord known as Bhagavan, who is endowed with the 6 powers in full, as defined in the Vishnu Purana. Bhaga, or 6 parts, is defined as complete control, complete influence, complete excellent qualities of body, mind and words, complete beauty or wealth, complete knowledge and complete detachment from worldly affairs. Vishnu Purana 6.5.74. So here, beauty is beauty or wealth. Sometimes it's always nuances. Often there are different ways that these 6 opulence are described. Complete control, complete influence, excellent qualities, and detachment. Okay, the word Bhaga indicates the 6 powers, and Van indicates that he eternally possesses these powers. The word Krishnaya means the boy who drinks from the breast of Yashoda. Footnote. Baladev Vidyabhushan is pointing out how the same person alluded to as the all-powerful a moment ago is the same person being depicted as a helpless baby on the lap of his mother. Any doubts concerning these transcendental mysteries will be resolved by Laghu Bhagvatamrita. So here's the doubt is, how is it possible? He's the most powerful, but he's just small baby. And he's even afraid of his mother sometimes. Even Queen Kunti in Bhagavatam, she says this, is it okay? She says, concerning this pastime, she says, this is bewildering for me. You, Krishna, even the fear personified is afraid of you, but you are still afraid and you cry when your mom is chasing you with a stick. This is bewildering. But if you think it should be bewildering, because this is God, right? If it's very easy to understand everything, then what kind of God is it? It should be. It should be amazing, outstanding. Okay. Akunta Medese means the person who bestows unlimited knowledge or highest knowledge. This Bhagavatam says, from you alone the knowledge of the living beings arises, and by your potency that knowledge is stolen away. Indeed, no one but yourself can understand the real nature of your illusory potency. Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 20-28. So from you alone the knowledge of the living beings arises. Mata smriti vijnanam apohanam, Krishna says in Gita. From me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, knowledge, and by your potency that knowledge is stolen away. Even Lord Brahma had this experience when the Vedas were stolen away from his mind by these two demons, and then Krishna had to appear and restore the Vedas and kill the demons. So our knowledge is not our knowledge. It's given to us, and very easily it can be taken away if you're not careful. Therefore, we should protect our knowledge by performing service to the person who gave us this knowledge. And knowledge, ultimately, what is the meaning of knowledge? It means the Chit Shakti of the Lord. That means devotional service, because knowledge is defined as Sambandha, Vidya, Prayojana, and all these three are meant to lead us closer to Krishna, to perform service to Krishna, to please Him. That's knowledge. So-called knowledge which doesn't include bhakti, it's illusion, it's ignorance. It's not real knowledge. And also in Chaturshloki, Krishna says, before he starts Chaturshloki, aham evasam evagre nanyatyat satasatparam, before these 4 verses, the verse prior to that, Krishna says, all of me, my form, qualities, pastimes, let it be awakened in you, Brahma, he talks to Brahma, by factual realization. So Krishna blesses Brahma with knowledge. Otherwise, if we don't have the blessings, the mercy of the Lord, we can read so many books, you can hear, but you won't understand, you will not get this knowledge, you will not be able to apply it in life unless you're blessed by the Lord. Therefore, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahetara Pravartana. Unless somebody is blessed by Krishna, then he cannot preach the glory of the holy name. Therefore, Sridhar Swami, in his commentaries to Bhagavatam, he says, Vagisha Yas, because this is, he was worshipping Nrsimhadev, and this is a prayer to Nrsimhadev. Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmi Yasacha Vakshasi Yasyaste Hridiye Samvittam Nrisimham Aham Bhaje. Vagisha is name of Nrsimhadev, which Vak means the goddess of speech. This amazing energy of the Lord, the power of Shakti of speech, the Vak Shakti, or we call it also Shabda, the spiritual sound. By this spiritual sound, we understand what is what. Otherwise, in Bhagavatam says, Pashyanapi na pashyati. We are looking around. Even if you have healthy eyes, you don't need even these things. And there is a sunshine, and you look around, and you see clearly what is around, but you don't understand. Pashyanapi na pashyati. And the only way to understand is by Vak Shakti, by the spiritual sound. Therefore, this is the most important thing. We hear the spiritual sound by the Lord, by the devotees, and then we understand, okay, I am here in this material world, this is Krishna's energy, I'm supposed to engage in Krishna's service. Otherwise, we'll get different idea. I am the Lord and the master of this world, and I'm the proprietor of this body, and I can do whatever I like. This is the natural course of thinking in Kali Yuga. So, Vagisha Yasya Valane, the goddess of power of speech, resides always in Nishingarev's mouth. She's there at his disposal. Whatever, she's his servant. And Lakshmi resides always on his chest. So this Vak Shakti, Supreme Lord's energy of speech, is bestowed by the devotee when the devotee is pure and sincere, and then through his words, then he can influence and purify countless living entities. And it comes through the Lord. Then the second line of the verse helps one understand that his powers as Bhagavan are inherent in him. In other words, Krishna didn't have to meditate and to perform tapasya to become Bhagavan. The powers of Bhagavan are inherent in him. They didn't come from somewhere. And they are real. They are not illusory like the Mayavadis think. Mayavadis say that, there are all these Shaktis, but they are just material. And ultimately there is no Shakti. It's just only Nirguna Brahman. He reveals that te for the deliverance Abhavaya of all living beings. His attractive Ushati forms, Kala, known as Svamsha, Kala and Vibhuti. So the Lord delivers us by manifesting his attractive form, his beautiful pastimes, with one goal, only to attract us. Again, we're talking about this attraction, because finally we will do what we want to do. We will do whatever our taste is. Mm-hmm. We may very well know that I should not do this, but if we don't change this perverted attraction to matter, if we're not very actively engaged in bhakti, and we're not eager and loba is greedy, yes, lauliam. If we're not greedy to attain the spiritual taste, sooner than later we'll have to go back to our material. It will happen. It's just a matter of time. So therefore, we have to use our time to acquire this spiritual taste, to be attracted to the Lord, because this is the only thing that will save us. When the ordeals of life hit us, and then we will have to be strong in Krishna consciousness, means that we have to have spiritual taste for Krishna, so that spontaneously we want to serve Krishna. And of course, until we develop this, we have to do it, as a matter of duty. That's also Krishna. Prabhupada says that following as a matter of duty is also good. It's better than just being an animal, just letting loose your senses and do all kinds of nonsense. Then, though the Lord cannot be divided into parts, there is an appearance of his expanding into parts for particular reasons. This will be explained later. It's a lengthy discussion. The Lord is one. We know that Krishna is one without a second, and still he expands. How is this working? Are these expansions different from him, or they are the same? If they are the same, then why we're talking about expansions? They are the same. And if they're different, then they are not the Lord, obviously, because they have a beginning and an end. So how is this working? And then there will be explanation. Rupa Goswami will deal with this. He will use the concept of Vishesha, which is basically saying the same thing as Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. Vishesha means it has specific unique features which set him aside from the original form, but at the same time they are kind of, not illusory, but they are only, I don't know the word, they appear only apparently for the sake of the pastimes. Here we're talking about Krishna in all the expansions. How are they the same and different at the same time? Okay, this will be explained later. Hearing the prayers of the Vedas, as told by the Kumaras from the mouth of Badari Narayana, Sri Narayana Rishi, Narada, composing this verse to convey the essence of the prayers of the Vedas, reveals perfectly that Krishna is the root of all things. Since common people will be reluctant to study a huge work out of laziness, I have produced a short commentary. Text 2. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. This invocation glorifies Krishna Chaitanya, an incarnation of Krishna himself, who revealed Krishna's lotus feet to the world. Karabhajana Yogi spoke this verse in response to King Nimi's question concerning the avatara of Kali Yuga. The intelligent men of even Kali Yuga worship the Lord. How? They worship by the rules of Archana, predominated by Sankirtana. Sankirtana Prayar Yagyaya. What form of the Lord do they worship? They worship the person who is Krishna in quality internally, Krishna Varna. So he is Krishna internally. Medini says, Varno Dvijadi Shukladi Yasho Guna Kata Saucha. Varna means caste such as Brahmana, colors like white, fame, quality, and speech. But his external form is not black, a Krishna. Garga said, Shuklo Raktastata Pita Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. The white, red, and yellow forms have now appeared in Krishna. These are the colors of the Yuga avatars, and they all now are combined in Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.13. From this it can be understood that a Krishna, or not black, means having a golden complexion. So a Krishna, not black, means being golden. The white and red forms, why? Because the white and red forms appeared in Satya and Treta Yugas. Anga refers to Nityananda and Dvaita, who are also Ishvara Tattva. Upanga refers to Srivas Pandit and others. Astra refers to the holy names, so these are the weapons. Okay, so the Lord appears with his confident associates, with his energies and his weapons. So in this case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the weapon? The holy name is the weapon, which will act like weapons to cut down the forest of ignorance. The Parshadas are Gadadhara, Govinda, and other associates. The Lord has appeared with all these persons. This indicates his great strength. In Garga's statement, the word Pita occurs with avatars who appeared previously. It should be understood, however, that this avatara appears only in the Kali Yuga of the 28th cycle of Vaivasvata Manu's reign in the Shvetavaraha Kalpa. So this is our 28th cycle of Vaivasvata Manu, and the day of Brahma is Shvetavaraha Kalpa. It is the first day of the first 51st year of Lord Brahma. The days of Lord Brahma have names. There are 30, and each day has a name. So this day is called Shvetavaraha Kalpa. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears only in this day, in this 28th Vaivasvata, 28th cycle of Vaivasvata Manu's reign. Otherwise, it will appear different incarnation. This avatar can only be Chaitanya since the present verse describes his exclusive qualities. In other Kali Yugas, the Lord appears in Shyama for color, that means dark, black, or the color of Shirisha, leaf, that means green. And these are empowered jivas rather than the Lord himself. So it's normally the Yuga Avatara for Kali Yuga is blackish or green and it's Jiva Tattva, it's not Krishna. But now it's unique case where Mahaprabhu appears. And Swayam Bhagavan Krishna prior to that. Prayaksha Rupa Dvig Devo Drishyate na Kalau Hari. The Lord does not appear in Kali Yuga personally. Vishnu Dharma 108. By exception, he appears. The worshippers are called intelligent because they understand the meaning of statements such as Channa Kalau Yat Abhavaha. You are covered in the age of Kali. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.38. Shuklo Raktas Tata Pita. White, red, and yellow. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.13. And Kalaf Api Tata Srinu. Even in Kali Yuga, the Lord is described as Channa because his form is covered by the complexion of his beloved Radha. In Brihat Naradiya Purana it is said, in Kali Yuga, appearing in a covered form, I completely and constantly protect the people by teaching devotion to the Lord. Mundaka Upanishad indicates Lord Chaitanya with these words. When the seer of Brahman sees the Lord, the controller of all, the creator, the cause of the unmanifest Prakriti with golden color, Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.3. Lord Chaitanya is also indicated in the following. Mahaprabhu Vai Purusha Satvata Syaisha Pravartaka. Mahaprabhu is the propagator of Sattva. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.12. Yes.
We know this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kali Kali Namarupa Krishna Avatar.
Yeah.
The Lord comes in Kali Yuga as in the form of Nama.
Yeah.
So, will it be described here?
I think it's quoted here. Later.
This Nama form. Yeah.
Nama form.
Like an avatar.
Yeah, I think so. But you have some question regarding this? Or?
No, I'm just.
Yeah. Not sure, but I think I read this verse in the book somewhere. But I don't think in this discussion. I think later.
So we cannot say that this is regularly, like regular form, regular avatar.
Nama?
Yes, Nama.
It's constant because the holy name of the Lord is always present. Whether people take advantage of it, that's another question. But it is available in all yugas, the holy name. It's just in previous yugas it's not the main method for attaining. But it's they chant the holy name all the time. In Satya Yuga, in Papar, in Treta, when they perform sacrifices, when they meditate, it's always connected with the holy
And
name.
always this holy name doesn't differ from
Yeah,
the Lord.
yeah, of course. Nama Chintamani Krishna, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta, Abhinatvam, Nam Namina. Yes. The holy name is still is always the same. Always absolute. Never changes. Only increases the potency of the holy name, never diminishes.
Even if it is in case when not Lord Chaitanya but other Kali Yuga avatar comes and he gives Yuga Dharma of chanting the holy name, still this holy name is Krishna himself.
Yeah. Though when Mahaprabhu comes, because he is directly Krishna, then it has special potency, which reveals even higher realms. Usually it reveals only Vaikuntha. But when Mahaprabhu comes, it's imbued with special mercy, which can lead you to Goloka Vrindavan. That's the special thing. But it's still a holy name. It's just different mood.
Okay, and if you chant this holy name without this particular mood, you will not get still the same holy name, but you will not go to Goloka.
Yeah, but even if you chant the Hare Krishna mantra and you want to go to Vaikuntha, you go to Vaikuntha.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
depends on the mood, the desire. Krishna doesn't interfere.
Mm-hmm.
Gopkumara was chanting his mantra and he was going everywhere in the universe.
Yeah. Okay.
Though Skanda Purana, Harivamsha and other scriptures sometimes mention a yellow avatara in other yugas, such as Dvapara, these are occasional appearances, since the Lord has a great variety of forms when he appears in this world. So sometimes he's yellow. You cannot just make this strong statement, the Lord appears only in this way. He is Swarat, independent, supremely independent. So sometimes he breaks the rules and he appears in a different way. We will read a little later that sometimes Brahma doesn't appear from the lotus. He appears from the water or from some other things. This is not obliged that he should always maintain the same pattern of creation. And who are we to... Why doesn't appear? You said that it will... Whom you're talking to? As the Lord. Then footnote 3. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, chapter 20, Sanatana Goswami attempts to get Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to explain who is the Kali Yuga Avatara. So this is Sanatana Goswami's loving push and trick. Mm-hmm. He tries to, like Vaisheshika Prabhu, he says, either you frame or you're being framed right now. Mm-hmm. So here we see an example how Sanatana Goswami, he tries to frame the Lord. Mm-hmm. So Sanatana Goswami says, how can I understand who is the incarnation for this age of Kali? The color of the personality in whom the characteristics of the Lord are found is yellowish, golden. His activities include the distribution of love of Godhead and the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. The incarnation of Krishna for this age is indicated by these symptoms. So he's hinting that this is actually Mahaprabhu. That's what he's doing. Because Mahaprabhu is always trying to avoid this topic. He doesn't like this topic. Mm-hmm. When people say he is the Lord, he always Shri Vishnu, and he leaves the place, he protests. And now Sanatana Goswami, because he is hearing about, Mahaprabhu explains to him the symptoms of the avatar in Kali Yuga, and the symptoms are golden color and always chanting the holy name of Krishna. And Sanatana Goswami says, wait. Okay, let me get this straight. So you're saying the incarnation of the Lord in Kali Yuga, we are in Kali Yuga now, is as follows. He has golden color and he's always engaged in congregation chanting. So I just want to get this straight. So the incarnation, please confirm this definitely, so that all my doubts will go away. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Oh Sanatana, you must give up your intelligent tricks. Now just try to understand the descriptions of the Shakti Vaishya avatars." And he moves to the next topic, Mahaprabhu. That was the end of it. These are the dealings. So he couldn't frame him so easily. But Mahaprabhu allows to be framed by his devotees, in a loving way. Text 3. Mukkaravinda Nishanda Maramda Bharat Tundila. Mukkaravinda Nishanda. Mamanandam Mukundasya Sandugham Venu Kakali. May the soft sound of Mukunda's flute, nourished by the honey gliding from Krishna's lotus mouth, continually increase my bliss. Hare Krishna. Can we help you?
Oh, Hare Krishna. Come inside.
Showing his exclusive attachment to the son of Nanda, the author in this verse describes the glories of the sound of Krishna's flute. May the gentle, pleasing sound, Kakali, of his flute cause complete fullness of my bliss. Text 4. Shri Chaitanya Mukodgirna Hare Krishneti Varnaka Vajjayanto Jagat Premi Vijayantam Tat Advaya. May the names of Krishna, composed of the syllables Hare Krishna, emanating from the mouth of Shri Chaitanya, and drawing the universe in prema, remain ever glorious. This introductory verse glorifies Krishna's name, since its power is revealed in Kali Yuga, since it was spread by the Lord Himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, since it yields the highest goal of human life, and since it is non-different from Krishna. Tat Advayai means Krishna's names, which are identical in the following verses, which are indicated in the following verses. In this age of quarreling hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way, there is no other way. Brihat Naradiya Purana. The intelligent worship the Lord through the process of chanting His name. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. O best of the Bhrigu dynasty, the holy name of Krishna is the sweetest of the sweet and the most auspicious of the auspicious. It is the transcendental fruit of all the Vedas and is purely spiritual. Whoever chants it but once, whether with faith or with contempt, is liberated. Prabhasakanda Padma Purana. Text 5. The lotus feet of my blessed master are like lotus flowers. That nectar which my master extracted from Srimad Bhagavatam, I will now honor by summarizing it in brief. One may ask the purpose of writing this work, since Sanatana Goswami has already written the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. This verse answers. My endeavor is not useless because this work, being concise, is useful for the Vaishnavas who cannot access the Brihad Bhagavatamrita because of its length. Text 6. There are two types of sweetness arising from Krishna and arising from his devotee. First, the sweetness arising from Krishna will be presented in this work for my friends. So this is dedicated to Rupa Goswami's friends. So we hope that we are his friends and we will understand something by his mercy. But I found this interesting. We spoke about this, that the work is dedicated to it's meant to his friends. No, people are writing books and they're always worried about the target audience, and they're always trying to write the book in a way that will be appropriate for the particular audience. Rupa Goswami just writes the work for his friends, and if somebody is not qualified to read the book, then it's not for him. Describing the form and qualities of the Lord and the form and qualities of his devotees is all included in the word Bhagavatamrita. Which is to be relished first? This verse answers. According to Shaunaka's advice, the sweetness of Krishna should be relished first, and then the sweetness of the devotees will be relished. Please describe all these incidents if they relate to the topics of Lord Krishna. The devotees of the Lord are accustomed to licking up the honey available from the lotus feet of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.16, 5-6. Thus, there is nothing astonishing in dealing with the subject in this order. Alright, so we'll read the summary of the Mangalacharana next time as the footnote 5. Comments or questions? Okay. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samavita Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Please.